Eagle. Welcome in to the DNVR Avalanche Podcast, live and presented by Bet365. USA officially wins their first gold medal in hockey in 46 years. They pull it off. They get it done. Canada has to settle for the silver. We'll get into all of that. We'll get into all the impact of the effects on the Avalanche too, but for starters, look, I'll be honest, I'm not necessarily claiming America. I was just rooting for a good game, and we got that. But for those of you who did, like J Mike, off time, America officially owns hockey now.
I mean, it is a sweep. Some are saying dynasty in the brew. I mean, it's all coming together now. Everything's coming up USA. I don't know, man. That was ballsy, and that was a really fun game. I mean, that was everything you could ask for out of the Olympic experience.
I remember after the first period, I'm sitting there like thinking to myself, I'm like, if this is a 1-0 game, if that is how this ends, I'm going to be pissed. And it turned into something wonderful. That's about as good of a hockey game as I wanted out of this. I was surprised it was as close as it was, because I was really maybe looking for one team to kind of take like the high scoring edge on the other, but ending it in overtime, I mean, you're on the edge of your seat for that. That is the stuff of like, people will be talking about this for years.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Hopefully it spawns the next generation of great American hockey players, if nothing else. But the game itself, USA won. Fact. Full stop. They deserve the win. When you win an event like this, fully deserved. They were not the better team for the majority of that game, though, right? Unless your name's Connor Hellebuck.
No, oh my God. Connor Hellebuck. I was talking about this with my roommate when I got home, and he was like, he deserves like 5 medals for the performance he put on alone. Like he's the reason the US went on to win it. Like, I'll go as far as to say that, because as far as, most of the game goes, second and third period, Canada, for the most part, dominated. They weren't letting the US get away with anything, really. And I mean, some of those saves, aren't, like, we've been talking all year about how maybe Connor Hellebuck is not the Connor Hellebuck of years past, and he's been, pretty washed up goaltender, maybe letting in some things that we wouldn't anticipate from somebody who's, as decorated maybe as he is, or at least with how much good you've been able to say about him in years past. But for him to go and put up that performance, all it takes is 60 minutes, and he showed up and out. Easily the best player on the ice. For me, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, he was incredible in this one. Canada kind of got goalied, which there were some connections with Team Canada and the Avs spiritually, I feel like, between getting goalied potentially in a big game, power play struggles, 3-on-3 overtime struggles.
That power play.
This is Avs hockey. I've seen this episode before.
This looks familiar. Yeah.
But also, this was the type of game it had to be for the U.S. to win. I mean, I did predict that they would win mostly for fun, being real. It wasn't like I 100% wholeheartedly believed it was going to happen, but I did think there was a chance, and that's because this U.S. team has a almost arrogance to them that I think you have to pull this type of upset. And they found a way to muck it up enough and hang around enough to get it done. And I mean, you have to credit Halibut, but also the penalty kill unit for the U.S. to
Oh,
go the
that's a
entire 2 weeks without giving up a power play goal. That's absurd.
Yeah. I mean, talk about a big kill too, especially that double minor that hit him. Like that's one of the biggest moments of the game. You talk about, I mean, yes, maybe there wasn't as much pushback as I would have liked to have seen after some of those big kills. You're looking for a big momentum swing. But that's huge in being able to shut down what is an incredibly dangerous power play unit for Canada.
I mean, and certainly, no shade to Connor Hellebuck. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Proves he can show up in a big game, which if he wants to do that in the year that the Winnipeg Jets are going to miss the playoffs, that's perfectly fine with me. So that works out. But also, save of the game arguably goes to Charlie McAvoy.
There's
Need a
so
little bit of
many.
luck.
True.
There's so many different ones that could go to that. I remember looking at that Devon Taves opportunity with the net wide open. If I'm going to give a save of the game, it's going to that one easily. Sorry, Charlie McAvoy. That's an insane stick save to make on Connor Hellebuck's part.
Yeah, look, USA, like J Mike said, put all the pieces together to win the game in the way that they needed to. Is it the prettiest game? No. Is anyone going to remember all of the open nets missed? Yeah, probably. Nathan McKinnon will probably remember. But
that'll haunt him for generations.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But at the end of the day, everyone in the U.S. is going to remember the USA won.
Mm-hmm. The end of the day, that's what it is. I mean, it has been years and years and years since the U.S. has properly been able to claim a gold medal. And you talk about doing it for the first time. This is the first time in 12 years that NHLers have been part of that too. So to be able to sit there and say that some of the best to ever touch the ice helped make this happen, that's huge.
It feels like redemption, man. I mean, I remember watching that 2010 game, and I do dramatically root for Team US, and they've come close before.
Yeah.
But there's always been this element of the hurdle they can't seem to get over, and to pull it off the way they did. I mean, on the anniversary of the game too, it had this fun little wrinkle just in the whole lore of it all. But this was a significant moment for U.S. hockey, kind of going back to what Rudo said at the beginning. This is hopefully something you build off of, and it'd be cool if this became a regular thing, seeing these two countries, battle it out for gold. Be even cooler if we could get some type of guarantee that it will continue to be best on best moving forward.
Yeah.
It's absurd that we had to go a decade plus without getting to see all these stars match up against each other, but this lived up to the hype, and I just feel like it's been great for hockey between the way the Olympics delivered, the way that Four Nations delivered last year. It's been really good for the brand, especially when, I know this is way bigger than like the All-Star game and Four Nations, but it just feels like they had an opportunity to kind of upstage some of the other sports for once in kind of the main sphere. And they did a great job of seizing that opportunity.
Yeah, super fun tournament, especially in the knockout rounds. You had banger game after banger game in this Olympics for the U.S. and also for all the other countries. But really fun to watch. We'll get into the Avs guys in a minute, but U.S. now has I don't know if I want to call it a new generation of superstars or whatever, because obviously these guys are great in the NHL, but someone like Jack Hughes, not a guy who's really won anything in the NHL and is now a national superstar with a gold medal winning goal.
He was one
He
of
could have
my
been the fall guy too, though, with the penalty he took.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
But even outside of that too, like he was one of my favorite players to watch for Team USA today too.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about a guy who's really trying to create as much of a spark and as much of a jump as possible, even when his team is turtling in the second period onward. Like that's props to Jack. So many props to Jack for being able to make that kind of push when the rest of his team's kind of lagging behind.
Yeah. He's always been a great player. There's no doubt about that. And, you know, the U.S. maybe have a little bit of luck on their side. Probably. But it's been a long time since I've been this hyped about U.S. American men's hockey. The women's side has had this for a while. They've been great forever.
Mhm.
But on the men's side, very, very enjoyable. Even if it wasn't the perfect game,
Yeah,
I'm all about it for them.
Dare we call it romantic?
There has to be, right? Like an overtime, a 1-1 game. If you're trying to write the story,
like that's about as romantic as it gets.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I also feel like weirdly the 3-on-3 overtime, despite Canada having the offensive skill and speed advantage, kind of favored the possibility of chaos and the U.S. being able to steal a goal. And the pressure that Canada had for the entirety of the second and third period, I think if it's 5-on-5, they might pull it out. If they play this game 7 times, Canada might win 5. But that's kind of the beauty of it, is it's a 1-game sample size and anything can happen. And the underdog pulled it out, which is like the ultimate American story. That's all you can ask for.
This is the question I wanted to pose to you guys, because this was a huge topic of interest in the locker room after practice today. What do you guys think of 3-on-3 hockey in medal rounds like this? That is kind of the consensus everybody else besides Mackenzie Blackwood came to. So
I feel like it might be a necessary concession to be able, especially to get NHL player participation. Just, you don't want a situation where it ends up being like one of those crazy games where it goes to 2-3 overtimes and you're putting on all that extra mileage in the middle of the NHL season. You already, lost Sidney Crosby. Like there are some arguments that at least support the logic of it, but it feels wrong to decide a game of this magnitude with gimmick hockey.
Are they? Is it like, I'm sure the NHL wants that. I don't want that. I don't know that the players want that. I don't know that the Olympic Committee, like, I don't know why they approved it. I want them to play 5-on-5 until somebody wins.
that is the general consensus. If like we're going statistically, like we talked to Martine Netchis, we talked to Scott Wedgwood, we talked to Mackenzie Blackwood, even Coach Bednar was like, I don't like it, like flat out. I personally, like, if you're looking at getting true, authentic decision type hockey, like that's how it needs to be, is the 5-on-5. Like being able, it's really a game of chance at that point. And I'm not saying that's not what it is when you're looking at it from a regular season NHL schedule too. Like you're looking for time's sake. Like these games ultimately maybe are not as important as, games that are going on to win you cups and like those rounds later on in the postseason. But I'm just looking at this and I'm like, this is such an important game, and you're going to let it be decided on a game of chance. It's 3-on-3 is a game of possession at this point. It's a game. Somebody makes a mistake and it's back and forth ping pong at that point. Who can make those decisions? Who can get something past the other person's or other team's goaltender? Like that's really all it is. And it seems so, dare I say, stupid and insignificant and unfair for it to be decided that way. If
You
you're
had
looking
60 minutes to score, though. Like, the counter is you had 60 minutes to score. You had a power play night. You had a 5-on-3. There were plenty of opportunities. So, like, I agree in with the spirit of everything that you're saying. I just feel like it's easy to go.
No, and I feel like I'd be
I
saying,
guess, the upset, and I just don't want to do that.
no, it's a valid argument. And I feel it, like, again, hindsight's maybe 2020, and I'm looking at this like through a lens of, you know, USA did win it at the end of the day, but even if they were the ones to lose, I still think it's stupid. I still think, like, again, if you're looking for a true, authentic, like, hockey miracle-esque type story, like, you're looking for this to be solved in the most, like, true feeling way possible. Like, it's just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Look, two things can be true. I think that it's dumb, and there's also no excuse. Like, the players know, they knew going into the tournament that this is how it was. You have to be ready and capable of winning under the rules that you're playing under. And Canada failed to do so.
And both these teams won games in overtime prior. Like, it's not like it was your first taste of this.
Right.
Yeah. I can dislike it and still not an excuse for Canada at all to have lost. But
no, there were multiple other things. Like, if we're talking about Taves not getting Hellebuck's stick in the way on his shot, if we're talking about McKinnon not missing a wide open net, if we're talking about a lot of other opportunities created by Team Canada to put this up, again, we're talking about a team that dominated 2 of the 3 periods of this game, who ultimately were not able to get the job done. We're going to sit here and point at something. It's not just the overtime that they weren't able to kind of get it done with, too. We're talking about power plays. We're talking about those missed rush opportunities. Like, there's a lot of things to point to. It's just a dumb point that was brought up multiple times that I wanted to kind of get opinions on.
Yeah, valid. I do want to get into some of those Avs guys a little bit more, but we need to take our first break of the show. So let's shout out a few of our sponsors. The presenting sponsor of today's show is Bet365. Hopefully you got some good money betting on USA to take gold, because you can get some pretty good stuff out there for that. They're also the official partner of the Colorado Avalanche. So go get with Bet365 today and sign up with code DNVR365. When you do, you sign up, you put $10 into your account, you bet $5 on anything, win or lose. You don't even have to hit that bet. You'll get $200 in bonus bets. That's a great way to kick off your account. It's basically $200 of free money to play with. If you hit a bunch of bets, you got money now. If you don't, well, it was free money anyway, so no big deal there. And with the NHL coming back and starting up very soon again, you can get an early payout offer there. If any team goes up by 3 goals, you get paid out immediately if you pick them to win. So you don't have to wait for the end of the game, and you don't have to worry about any crazy comebacks. So get with Bet365 today. Use that DNVR365 code when you do to get those $200 in bonus bets. Of course, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or somebody who knows a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today. And, you know, taking care of yourself is also important. Have some fun with Bet365, but also make sure you get yourself checked out at Rocky Mountain Cancer Centers. This season, Rocky Mountain Cancer Centers is proud to be the official sponsor of Denver sports fans. Because when life calls it audible, you need a team that won't back down and is ready to take your treatment head on. We rally around you with the same passion, pride, and relentless spirit you've brought to every game day. You show up for your team, loud, loyal, and all in. We're the team that shows up for you. So make sure you do go get yourself checked out. Rocky Mountain Cancer Centers is your coverage, their expertise. Head to RockyMountainCancerCenters.com to learn more today. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. And do we have the 3 stars ready, Tiff? Do we have the medalists? Or we can just go through them. Hey, look at that. Ready to go. We'll get back to the Canada-USA guys in just a second, but I had to take the opportunity to go bronze, silver, gold here a little bit. And Arturi Lehkonen, along with Joel Kiviranta, win a bronze medal with Finland. These 6 medals come home for Colorado, and it just shows the incredible depth that the Colorado Avalanche have this year. that this many guys were able to medal, and that does not include someone like a Marty Necas, who had a great tournament that came up a little bit short. A Gabe Landeskog, who was captain of Sweden. The question I want to ask you guys about this is, given the Avs' unbridled success at this tournament, does this put more pressure on them to get to the promised land this year when it comes to the Stanley Cup?
I think to an extent, just because it validates the star power of some of these guys and kind of shows what they're capable of. McKinnon, when he turned it on, was incredible. Makar looked, I thought, for much of this tournament, like the vintage Makar that we've kind of been pleading to see at times in certain stretches this year. I mean, you see what Marty did. I mean, he was a superstar. Yeah. I think it shows just how loaded this team is. And I mean, it was always Stanley Cup or bust, like at the end of the day, regardless of what these guys did on this stage. Like the expectation is the expectation for this team. But this was about as significant of validation that you could have outside of like actually playing NHL games. It shows how loaded they are.
Yeah, no, there's something to be said about the success that not only exists but thrives here in Colorado. And Bednar's talked about it a lot too, and say like that's what they need to be. Like that the guys who are going over there have specific roles on this team, or at least play big parts in multiple different areas of the ice. And in talking with some of the guys as they've ramped practice back up, even Parker Kelly went as far as to sing a guy like Kiviranta's praises and say like he's a really underrated guy in the league, but there's so much upside to his game that is just completely overlooked that really helps them out as a team. And we saw that in a few different situations with Team Finland. I mean, that 11-0 game, as much as I love bringing it up because it's such a fun score to go back to, like, look at how he was able to kind of contribute there. And there's no being able to say that there was not a single guy on this roster who went over to go represent his country that did not contribute in some way. It's not something every team can say, but the Avs, like that's just a testament to who they are. And looking at how this tournament ended as well, you're looking at McKinnon and Makar and Taves with the silver medal. Those are three guys who really thrive on, you know, being able to find that success. And maybe hardware is not as important to them, but they have a very team first mentality too. So I love the idea that guys like those three, guys like Lehkonen and Kiviranta, guys like Martin Necas, who again had a fantastic tournament but didn't medal. There's a lot to be said about there being a chip on their shoulder and that being able to push them just that much more and being able to get over that hill at the end of the season.
I mean, look, I'm sure the Canadian guys are upset that they didn't win a gold. But a silver medal is got to feel better than Jason Robertson being left off the U.S. team and not getting that gold medal.
Oh, I feel so bad for a guy like him too. But you look at all the chirping and everything that happened as the rosters were coming out too, and I mean they were still able to go out and do it. Like I'll be one to eat my words too. Absolutely, like. This Team USA roster, I thought was maybe constructed a little differently than I would have done it personally, being that Jason Robertson should have been on that team for me. Absolutely.
Yeah,
like
sure.
That's a guy, if you're looking for his goal scoring prowess, somebody to help get over like some of the humps that I thought they'd run into, especially when it comes to a Team Canada, Jason Robertson is one of those guys. It really makes you feel extra bad that, you know, they went and persevered through all of that, and he's kind of watching from the couch. I can't help but feel for him.
The silver medal I gave to Cale Makar. We'll obviously talk about all of the Canadian guys, but at the end of the day, Mike, you talked about it. The version of Cale Makar you saw at this tournament was far closer to the Kalian than it was what we've seen maybe for a while in Colorado. And you even go look at the gold medal game. And I know Cale Makar on the ice for both goals against Canada, technically, but the first one is probably more Devon Taves' fault than his. And the second one is in 3-on-3 overtime. And there were lots of other problems on that play. And then you flip that, and the only goal that actually went in the net for Team Canada in this game is Cale Makar. That's when we talk about a guy who is generational. Everyone wants to talk about how, Quinn Hughes is actually better than Cale Makar. Well, Quinn Hughes has a gold medal in the trophy cabinet now, but he doesn't have that second Norris. He doesn't have that Conn Smythe. He doesn't have that Stanley Cup. And Cale Makar still gets to add a silver to the trophy case here. Assuming the NHL doesn't screw us, something tells me Cale Makar is going to have another chance at one of these.
Yeah. 4 years in the grand scheme of things is not that long away for a guy like Cale Makar. You're looking at one, maybe possibly two more opportunities for a guy like him to go and showcase exactly what it is he knows how to do. Truth be told, there's nobody who plays the game quite like Cale Makar does. There's nobody who dominates the ice, or at least has the reputation of being able to dominate the ice the way that Cale Makar does. That there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And this, I was a little skeptical going into this tournament for Cale, just because of, we've talked a lot about the week or two leading up to this tournament and this break, and not quite seeing that version even beforehand of Cale. Like it's been a while since we've seen that guy come out and dominate the way that we know how he knows how to do. And being able to see that version of him again, I think is not only a breath of fresh air for Team Canada and being a big reason as to why they won a silver medal, but should be a breath of fresh air for a lot of Avs fans coming out of the break as well and saying, like, for all intents and purposes, he's back. Like that's, I feel like I'm not far off in saying that's the version of Cale Makar we should expect. At least give him a week to recuperate and, revitalize himself, as, all of these players should be able to have. Bednar went as far as to say that maybe, there's a possibility some of these guys could not play on Wednesday just because of, the quick turnaround and whatnot. But give it a week, and I wonder what version of Cale Makar we're getting. I feel like it's not far off to say that's the version we can come to expect.
He's the best player in the world when he wants to be.
When he wants
anybody.
to be.
I fully agree with that statement. The other thing here, is this the optimal outcome for the Avalanche? Because if you watch that medal ceremony, Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar both had looks in their eyes and like they are about to go destroy the world.
Nathan MacKinnon was handed a stuffed animal and said, "What is this? This is not on the road to my Stanley Cup. I don't know what to do with this." Yeah, they look like men scorned.
Mad Mac is always the best version. My only potential fear, I guess, in all of that is this thing that immediately fuels you, or do you have to go through the hangover first? Like, is this the part of the movie where you wallow and sad music plays and your girlfriend breaks up with you? You got to get over it. You got to get over it, man. But in the end, I do think it fuels them. I just wonder how immediate that proves to happen.
Because I think when you say that, like, I immediately think of round one loss to Dallas. They had an entire offseason to deal with that hangover period. And that hangover turns into that hunger stage of like, we need to get things done and we need to get them done now because we are this mad about how things ended. I wonder, just like, it's still a devastating loss, obviously, but I wonder if this quick turnaround yields to a smaller hangover stage and being like, no, we can be angry about this for a day. We get a mandatory day off before we have to return to our teams. I can sleep through that, and yeah, I'll be pissed when I get back. Like that makes sense for these guys.
This might be the mind is willing, but the body is giving you up on that angle because they do play a hockey game in roughly 72 hours, and that includes a 8 time zone
on the
flight
other side
home.
of the world.
Yeah, right.
And that's if they play it too. We're not even.
Yeah,
Bednar did mention that he hasn't gotten any sort of like injury assessment on these guys, so that he doesn't know what little things they might be dealing with. We know. I mean, look at how Nate looked the last couple games. So no idea what the status is there. Obviously, they were good enough to play, today and day before, or in the days before. But I wonder, like that's they have that rejuvenation period, and there's ultimately, like Bednar made it sound like that's ultimately going to be up to them if they feel like they need that extra day. It's a grueling schedule for everyone. It's not just the Avs that are going through this. So if these guys need an extra day off, it sounds like they're willing to be.
The Avs have the luxury of games in hand and a points lead that, while smaller than it was 2 months ago, if they need to give guys days, they can have them. It's not immediate for them. We'll get to our gold medalist after the break. We do need to take another quick break to shout out a few of our sponsors, so let's hear from them. The Avs have seemingly escaped the Olympics without serious injury, and make sure you live life without serious injury too, and use Common Spirit Health. They're more than just hospitals and clinics. They're a team of passionate and expert caregivers dedicated to your well-being, woven into the very fabric of your community. From preventative care to advanced surgical solutions, their skilled physicians and caring staff are here for you, offering personalized treatment tailored to your unique needs. You can expect a blend of cutting-edge technology with a commitment to human kindness at their 20 hospitals and 240 clinics right here in Colorado. Whether it's a routine checkup, managing a chronic condition, or responding to an emergency, you can trust Common Spirit to deliver exceptional care close to home. Experience the difference compassion makes. Find a Common Spirit location near you and discover a new standard of health and healing by visiting mountain.commonspirit.org. Common Spirit Health is an official healthcare partner of the Denver Broncos. And once you're taking care of yourself with Common Spirit, make sure you also know who to call if you need to take care of anything when it comes to your home. That's New Built Restoration and Construction. They're licensed general contractors who can help with any project, big or small, and importantly, they're available 24/7 and truly care about being there for their customers. They have over 600 reviews that prove that to be true. If you do have a situation, they'll work with your insurance to make sure a stressful process is as smooth as possible, and they offer a number of different services, including fire damage, water damage, mold removal, repair services, commercial projects, and more. Plus, they're true DNVR fans, so we're super excited to support their business as well. When that home emergency hits, go visit New Built Restoration and Construction at newbuilt.com. That's NUBILT.com, or they'll be there at 720-902-7472. And when you do call, let them know that DNVR sent you over to New Built. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast, and our gold medalist is the actual gold medalist from the Avalanche in Brock Nelson, who maybe didn't play as big a role as some of these other guys did on their teams, but ultimately, we talk about the penalty kill finding success for the USA. Brock Nelson plays on that. He ends up being a role player that gets rewarded with a gold medal. Now, I'm convinced Brock Nelson is immortal, and this is actually his third gold medal because it wasn't his grandfather and uncle, but it was himself that was playing.
Like the Avatar.
Yeah, just reborn. But awesome to see. And as Avs fans, there was no losing here, right? You were guaranteed to see someone win a gold.
Yeah. And there's something poetic about it being Brock Nelson too, given the generational talent. And not generational in the way that Cale Makar is. I want to be sure to clarify. But in talking about this being the third generation to go out and do this and bring home a gold medal to his name. That's something really, really special. And I was joking with somebody after the game today and saying, like, there's a lot of pressure on his kids or now to be
gotta
like,
gotta win the fourth one.
yeah, no, keep it going, kiddos. Like that's crazy to think about. But what a huge moment for Brock Nelson too. And when we talk about this game and the factors that go into this, Canada not able to capitalize on their power plays, the penalty kill being a huge moment for Team USA, Brock is absolutely a part of that. So like there's something maybe to be said about him not playing as big of a role, but you're still talking about one of the biggest things that won Team USA this game.
He was perfect in the role he needed to play. He had one of the biggest desperation clears when Canada was really buzzing with possession that allowed them to get a key change. You know, if that doesn't go their way, maybe this game never even gets to OT. I think the real question is, do we need to instate a law now that someone from the Nelson bloodline must represent Team USA at all points? Because, I mean, the success, it speaks for itself. When a Nelson is on the team, you win gold. When there's no Nelson, no gold. I'm not great at math, but it adds up.
Yep.
At very least, you got to like add one of them as an assistant coach just to test.
Yeah.
They actually need to be on the roster.
Like how true
yeah.
do they need to be on the ice with the stick in their hand, or like what's going on here? Yeah.
We can workshop it. See. You need the presence of Nelson in the building. I think that's key.
Okay. Yeah. I can get down with this.
I'm in for this theory for sure. How old's his oldest kid? I don't actually know. I think it's like, I want to say like 8 or something. So
yeah,
a ways to go before they're
old,
ready.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of time in between some of these gold medals. So like we have time. We have time. Not to add to the pressure.
I never thought I'd see it happen. So like
same.
This is kind of gravy at this point. Like obviously I would love to see the US sustain it, but there are levels to this. And while like the hockey profile of the United States has risen drastically, I think they're pretty clear cut the number 2 country now, where it was maybe more of a debate between 2-3 countries for a long time. But to win on this stage against a team with that much firepower too, like it only makes it that much sweeter. You aren't playing a team full, like if it was a team full of people Crosby's age, like stars who once were but are no longer in their prime, maybe it doesn't feel quite as sweet. But like this is McDavid, this is McKinnon, Makar, all in their prime. You got Celebrini who's playing awesome. To beat that team,
so good in this tournament.
For really the rest of my life, but at least a decade before I can even complain, I think.
I want to bring this up, and I have the feeling I know the answer to this too, but when the Team Canada roster dropped, there was so much discourse I feel like I heard about Celebrini going and Bedard not going. How different is this for Team Canada if it is Bedard over Celebrini, or if both of them go, or if they decide maybe not on Celebrini? Like that, the what ifs of this are so crazy to me.
I've thought this for a long time now, but I think there is no doubt that Connor Bedard is worse than Macklin Celebrini today. Like, yeah, Celebrini was unbelievable at this tournament. He's been better than Bedard in the NHL for a couple of years. We don't really have to get into that conversation,
no.
But I think Canada is worse if they bring Connor Bedard instead of Celebrini. If you want to get into an argument over Bedard over some other guys they brought, sure, I'm open to it. But realistically, by bringing Macklin Celebrini, there is an argument that Canada's top line at this tournament was the 3 best players in the world. Now, I would have Cale Makar on that list instead of one of the forwards.
Yes.
But that's still obscene that you can roll out a McKinnon, McDavid, Macklin, Celebrini. Got to get the Mac in there. Insane. Like that. And that is not something that is about to go away.
No.
Like 4 years from now,
like the U.S. dream team in basketball losing.
Yeah,
like it'd be like had they gone down.
it makes it that much sweeter for the U.S., to be honest, that you look at that lineup and go, yeah, we beat probably 4 of the certainly top 10 best players in the world.
And look,
Yep.
I'm being petty at the moment just because I'm going to soak it in just a little bit today. But like this U.S. team is a bunch of menaces. Like it only puts that much more salt in the wound that you now have to watch the Kachuk brothers go on their celebration tour. You're going to see it on Good Morning America and everything else. Like this is a tough one, I think, to look back on if you're Canada, and I am just so curious to see which way does this go with the Avs guys. Like, is this devastating in a bad sense and it takes you a while to get over it? Or do you just come back with a fire under your ass and we see Mad Mac to a level that we've never seen before, which I think is probably my favorite. If I was putting it to a betting line, I'd say Crazy Mac mode, probably what I would put my money on. But it's interesting, and it was just a really fun day.
Yeah. Well, I think it's curious beyond Mac too, as Chad is talking about a little bit. How does Devon Taves bounce back from this game? Pretty much directly at fault for the first goal against, and then has Hellebuck makes a great save. Credit to Hellebuck, but Taves has a puck in the crease that he's not able to score on. You could see that guy being haunted by this game a little bit. McKinnon missed an empty net too, essentially. So, but we understand Nathan McKinnon's mentality. We know that guy the anger just builds for him and lights a fire under him in a way that it doesn't for many, many, many people. So I think it's a good point that some Avs may come back from this juiced and some may need, I don't think it'll take that long, maybe a week or two to reset a little bit.
Yeah.
Sit in the dark, listen to some sad songs, do some shadow boxing in the mirror, just the typical stuff,
Yeah. Look, we've all been depressed before. It's fine.
It's fine.
Not today for America, though. And the Avs were just making sure that Jordan Binnington didn't win a gold medal, honestly.
This was such a weird dynamic for me too, because I was on this weird teetering line of I want to see the most Avs possible win a gold medal, but also I need this man to not do well. And at least some medals came out of it. That was the guarantee, but
yeah.
I'm not secretly, but I was during the game very secretly happy that Hellebuck was outperforming Binnington by the score didn't represent it, but a pretty decent margin.
The silver lining.
But
Got him again.
And while we kind of talk about bounce back situations too, I don't know why I'm so stuck on the what ifs right now, but think about how much different a McKinnon and Taves and Makar look if Czechia wins that game.
Yeah, who even knows at that point?
What version are you getting of Nathan McKinnon then?
Is it worse to lose the gold medal game than come this close and lose an OT? I mean, it's the great debate, right? Would you rather make the Super Bowl and get blown out than lose the AFC Championship game? I mean, it's a debate.
No, that's something we were talking about in the room before going to interview players after practice. Is what version of Nathan McKinnon are we getting as locker room presence coming out of this break, and how much worse would it have been if he had lost sooner? Is that, and I say he, but you're obviously getting different version. Cale Makar is one of the most media trained players that I've ever met, and Devon Taves is Devon Taves, but Nathan McKinnon, that really sticks out to me.
Do we think this is a learning experience from like a leadership perspective from McKinnon, because ultimately, Crosby goes out. That sucks for Canada. He doesn't play in this gold medal game. He also didn't play in the semifinal. And McKinnon is the guy that picks up an A on his sweater. Is there something there that maybe McKinnon can learn a little bit, or is this really just this is a log for the fire to burn for him?
I really don't know. Like, it's no secret how vocal the entirety of the Avs room is, and he needed to learn a lot of that in Landeskog's absence. But I really hope there's something more to it than just being the log being burned at that point. Like, there has to be. Like, I feel like at that point you can't be one of the best players in the world and not be that guy, that person. Like, there's something to wearing your heart on your sleeve that Nathan McKinnon just does so innately that I think can translate to a lot of people in that room too, and that helps.
I really wonder what the inner dynamic within that locker room is, because obviously Crosby is the guy. He's the ultimate voice that trumps all others. But is it McDavid that's number 2? Is it McKinnon? Is it quietly Makar because he's cool, calm, and collected compared to McKinnon, who's a little bit on the crazy side? I tend to agree with you, but I don't know, like, especially in a sport like basketball, like if you put LeBron James and Kobe Bryant and all these individuals in the same setting, they're all psychopaths and they all just assume they're that guy. But I just am curious, like, is it a thing between McKinnon and McDavid? Is there anything you can do, I can do better dynamic, or is there almost deferment on one side? Like, I'm just very curious what that would play out like.
Yeah, yes, obviously, when you look at Nathan McKinnon's emotions after a loss like that, he very much wears them on the sleeve. But what you see in public and what Nathan McKinnon does in a locker room behind closed doors are two different things. This is
true.
Yeah.
This is very, very true.
And don't get me wrong, I have no doubt part of Nathan McKinnon's locker room routine is smashing a bunch of stuff after that loss. But the way he handles it as part of the team, I think, is a little bit different than maybe just the raw emotion we get to see.
Yep.
Anyway,
he's got some sour grapes in him. I mean, he's been known to let us know how he really feels, even when it's maybe not necessarily the best optically. But that's just who he is. Like, Nate is his authentic self in every moment. He's not holding anything back or pretending to be anything other than the psychopath competitor that he is. And frankly,
you have to respect the candor of it.
Yeah.
Like, he's not a phony. You can't say that about him.
Yeah. Like, there's a lot of respect to be given that way. Like, he truly, and this is something he's done his entire career. Like, he's never afraid to be blunt with his thoughts.
That's very true.
So, like, there's a level of respect that I really have for Nathan McKinnon in that regard, and saying, like, maybe that's his leadership talent, is he doesn't sugarcoat things. And from what I've seen, like, looking on from above at the bench and things that I've heard in the locker room, like, that's how he is in the room as well. Like, he really truly is not afraid to sugarcoat things. He's going to give it to you the way that it is, because he truly believes that's what makes you a better player at the end of the day.
Yeah. And you need some of that. Like, if that's the role Nathan McKinnon has, you need a guy that can be honest and do that. Now, it takes a balance. I'm not going to pretend like
there's a reason a Nathan McKinnon can exist with a Gabriel Landeskog, maybe, who has a softer tongue with things like that, I'm sure.
He wears an A, not a C. There's a reason for it.
Yeah.
But is part of the deal. Bailey did get over to practice today, and we do have thoughts from Jared Bednar on the Olympic final, and he doesn't like 3-on-3 like the rest of us. So let's hear from Jared about the Avs and the Olympics.
Questions for Jerry Bednar?
I guess just to start, you guys are traveling on Tuesday, so you guys jump right back into it. Is there a scenario where the guys who played in that gold medal game today maybe aren't in the lineup Wednesday with jet lag, time change, all that
Possibly. Yeah.
I guess just a electric game this morning. Just your thoughts.
Yeah, great game. Great game. Yeah, I mean, it was fast. Scoring chances were hard to come by, and just kind of like I thought going into it, it'd be a low-scoring contest, and it was going to come down to like which guys could capitalize on a couple of their grade A looks, and which goalie was going to make a couple of those saves, and it's kind of how it played out.
What do you think of 3-on-3 overtime hockey?
I don't love it. Like, I think, like in a tournament like that, because all the games are scheduled, like you have to try and end it somehow early on. But I think like for the medal rounds, I'd rather see it just extend 5-on-5. It's the time constraints that they have, trying to get a finish. It's the same for everyone. But I think like as a traditionalist, for me, I'd rather see it just go 5-on-5, kind of like the NHL does in the playoffs.
And Nate, Kale, Taser, I mean, oh my God, everybody was involved with it. What were your emotions just watching that whole thing with everybody today?
Well, I have mixed emotions because we also got Brock on the other side, and I want him to win too, right? So, I mean, they play the game, and it's decided by those guys. But, I mean, it's heartbreaking for, like, I'm a Canada fan, and they played a game that could have easily won it for them. They missed out on some, great opportunities, like, through the course of the second period, third period, and Hellebuck makes some saves, and they missed on a few, and it's a difference of, coming home with gold or silver, in my opinion.
Some of the folks over there were because Nate had missed practice and things like that he's either dinged up or under the weather. Do you know kind of what his status is?
I do not. No.
You talked about the game on Wednesday, possibly sitting those guys, and thinking of that, like the schedule as a whole, 5 games in 7 nights, and then 27 and 50 something. Like, is there a possibility, like not just Wednesday, like this is something you're going to have to take day by day, or no?
I'm definitely not doing that. No. If we make a decision to sit guys on Wednesday, then we're back to business. The 5 and 7 nights is probably the toughest part of this. But if we're fighting for first place, we're going to need to play. Our guys are going to have to play. Otherwise, we're going to be chasing first place instead of in it, in my opinion. It's already a tough enough schedule against tough opponents. We got some, we got Minnie a couple times early here. We got Dallas. And there's no easy games down the stretch, and I think we get them as rested as we can before we play them, and then once we start playing, it's business as usual for basically every team in the league. Like the 27 and 52 days take the 5 of the 7 out of it. After that, it's kind of like what we've been doing all year long. So we just got to get these guys recuperated and check in on all of the injuries if we have any, and make decisions. And then after that, like I don't think you can if you start sitting guys for long periods of time, or these guys one game and those guys the next year, you're basically playing the same kind of lineup we just had the last month, and that didn't work out very well for us.
You said that obviously you don't know McKinnon's exact status, but like, do you have any reason to believe that any of these guys would not be available to play? Or?
No, well, they all played today, and yesterday, so they should be all good to go.
We waited.
Doesn't mean they're not going to be dealing with things, that we have to manage.
We waited like 12 years for this. Just now that it's over, what was your kind of overall thoughts on the tournament?
I thought it was outstanding, especially once. I mean, look, you get into the single elimination games, and first day you had 3 out of 4 go to overtime. Again today, overtime. I mean, I thought it was outstanding. Yeah, players played great, showcased the NHL really well. The European guys all made impacts. I mean, it was fun to watch. Especially once it gets into that single elimination when tensions are high.
When that game starts, like, Mike's putting Brock out there against Nate and Connor and Mac. Like, just from your perspective, like, did you notice that right away? Like, oh man, like, Brock's going to get shifts against that super line, right?
Yeah. U.S. didn't shy away from any of those matchups. They played Brock and Trocheck and Miller. Of course, Canada had the last change, right? So, they kind of sit in the driver's seat with the matchups they like, but both teams are deep. I look at both those teams and, right away I'm just like, yeah, this is going to be a close game. It's going to come down to who finishes off a chance or two, and I think you could play best of 7 and it's likely going 7 games, and still going to come down to that 7th game and who finishes off a chance or two and who makes a save or two.
So many of your guys in that tournament played so well, whether it was Arturi or Martin or whomever. Does that have any bearing on when they come back in your guys' final stretch run here? Does that give them any momentum, do you think?
It's hard to say. I think all those guys that win are confident in what they do and are really consistent at what they do. Does it spark them a little bit? And maybe, some guys like Kivy had a great tournament for the Finns, and can that give them a little confidence coming into this thing? Those guys were played and deployed very similar to the way we do it here. So I think it's more probably for a lot of those guys, it's just kind of business as usual, like going out and making the most of their ice time, and then they're relied upon heavily in that tournament, though, on all different teams. Marty and then the Canadians and Brock would have had a little bit of a different role with the U.S., but I think it's a great experience for those guys. We're coming home with a lot of medals, and I think it should be a positive for our team.
When you see the pace that the game is being played at today and the intensity, I'm sure that it's already, you guys are getting ready to ramp up things here for this last little stretch, but does that make it a little bit easier to point at that and be like, yeah, that's the level that we need to get to by May 1st or April 1st, whatever it is?
Yeah, it can. I don't know that's the be-all, end-all. Like, I think that the players get back here, they get invested in what we're doing and what we're trying to accomplish, and that just kind of takes care of itself. Like, every game's going to get more important as we continue to play here. And like I said, we got some big games coming out right away in the next 10 days against opponents that are trying to track us down. So those will be big games. Intensity will be up right away. For the guys that were in the Olympics, they were just playing at that level, so it should be easy for them. And we're trying to do everything we possibly can with a small group over all these 5-6 practice days to try and get all of our other guys up to the same speed. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
So there you go. Jared Bednar, very straightforward. You might get Wednesday off to recuperate, but if you're with the Avs, you're playing hockey. That's the expectation.
Yep. He made that very clear. And that's fortunately the mindset in the rest of the room too, which I think helps a lot too. Martin Netjes falls right back into pace with everything in his first day back today. So everybody's very aware of the stretch that's coming up here for them. And I think that's the biggest part of this. And looking ahead, Olympics are over for these guys. It's a matter of getting home, and you focus on the next big thing. And right now, the next big thing, as Bednar mentioned, is this 5 and 7. Like, you're playing 2 back-to-backs with, one game in between to kind of, get those days to rest and recuperate. And that's not a lot. So it's really, full steam ahead kind of mindset for this team.
Got a cup to win.
There you go. That's what it comes down to. One final question for you guys on the Olympics, at least for this show. You don't have to give me a long answer. Yes or no is good enough. Will the power play get better thanks to the Olympics?
After this game, I'm not sure. I lost a little bit of my faith, I think.
Maybe this was the sacrifice needed. Kale and Devon and Nate, they had to sacrifice Olympic gold in order to get the mojo back on the power play back home.
Is that really the answer? Is that really the necessary
I don't know
sacrifice?
what else to think at this point, because logic has gone out the window. They're so talented, and this power play breaks my brain. So why not lean on some dumbass voodoo that makes no sense? At least the optimistic lens.
Everybody get the seance circles out. It's time.
Something's got to give.
Yeah.
Like it just, it's the one thing that you can get and put real concern behind in terms of where this team's at and believing they could make a real run.
Yep.
Well said. We'll leave it there. We're going to wrap up today's show. We will be off tomorrow from the pod, but we should still have a video, one last video about the Olympics and the potential playoff implications that some of the quality play we saw from the Avs should be coming your way. So make sure you tune in to that. Also another roundtable, and look, no rest for us. It's jumping right into trade deadline stuff, basically, as the NHL gets back up and running. So you'll see plenty of us over the next week, month, year. You know where to find us 5 days a week. If you really like us and you're not subscribed, do that. It helps us out a lot. But that's going to do it for this episode of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. The Olympics is over. We appreciate y'all, and we will see you on the next one. Of course, we are presented by Bet365.
We all silly like the mayor.